Here's a question that might make you squirm a little. 5 years from now, who is honestly going to care about the score that's stressing you out today? Take a moment and think about it. Right now, it feels like your whole life revolves around exams. Finals are approaching, tests are piling up. Every conversation with your friends somehow circles back to grades. What did you get? If I don't score above 90, I'm done for. People are attaching their confidence, identity, and future happiness to a number on a sheet of paper. But here's a reality check. By 2031, almost nobody will care. Nobody's going to stop you on the street and ask what you scored on your chemistry exam. Nobody will care whether you were the top student in class or the one barely scraping by. If these tests are destroying your confidence and convincing you that you're a failure, you've bought into one of the biggest misconceptions school teaches. Exam season brings out the strangest behavior. The student who scores 100% walks around like they've conquered the world. The student who gets 60% acts as if everything has fallen apart. But think about it honestly. A perfect score only impresses people for a few days. Then, life moves on. It doesn't transform your character. It doesn't automatically make you wiser. And it certainly doesn't guarantee a successful future. I've watched students collect straight A's year after year, only to reach their early 20s with poor communication skills, no initiative, and little understanding of how life actually works, because they spent all their energy chasing approval through grades. At the same time, I've seen students with average results build remarkable lives because they learned skills that classrooms never taught. And if you failed an exam, unless that specific grade is required for a particular path like medicine, engineering, or law, it isn't the disaster you think it is. That grade isn't measuring your intelligence. It's measuring how effectively you recalled information under pressure for a limited amount of time. Now, let's keep things realistic. I'm not saying academics don't matter at all. I studied. I passed my exams. There are careers where grades genuinely matter. If your dream is to become a doctor, scientist, engineer, or attorney, academic performance is important. Certain professions require qualifications. There's no shortcut around that. But most of you aren't pursuing those paths. Many of you talk about launching businesses, building brands, creating content, working online, or pursuing independent careers. So, if your future doesn't depend entirely on the traditional system, why are you allowing its scoreboard to control your self-worth? If school is the only thing you're focused on, perfect grades won't magically create a meaningful life. And if you're actively building skills, creating projects, or developing yourself outside the classroom, one disappointing grade won't destroy your future. The person you should be concerned about isn't necessarily the student who struggles. It's the student who excels academically but develops nothing else. School rewards compliance. Memorize this, complete that assignment, follow these instructions. The better you follow directions, the higher the score. The issue is that real life doesn't operate that way. Nobody hands you a syllabus for building a career. Nobody creates a step-by-step guide for creating opportunities. Nobody tells you exactly what skill to learn next or which risk to take. If your entire teenage life revolves around following instructions, you can end up becoming dependent on permission before taking action. I've seen it repeatedly. The perfect student follows the expected path, chooses the safest options, and eventually works for someone who wasn't nearly as successful in school, but spent years learning practical skills, solving problems, and taking risks. Why does that happen? Because people who face setbacks often become resilient. They learn how to recover from mistakes. They learn that failure isn't fatal. Meanwhile, some high achievers become so afraid of imperfection that they avoid challenges altogether. They're terrified of looking foolish. They're terrified of failing publicly. Don't let academic perfection become a prison that prevents you from trying difficult things. At the same time, let's address another group. Some people hear grades aren't everything and use it as permission to become lazy. That's just as dangerous. You've probably seen videos online claiming school is pointless, so some students stop trying altogether. They stay up gaming every night, ignore assignments, fail exams, and then compare themselves to successful dropouts. That's nonsense. Those famous success stories didn't succeed because they avoided work. They succeeded because they became obsessed with building something valuable. If you're failing classes while doing nothing productive, you're not rejecting the system, you're avoiding responsibility. If studying for 2 hours feels impossible, how are you going to manage years of discipline required to build a company, master a skill, or achieve any meaningful goal? Some of you are probably thinking, I understand all this, but my parents care a lot about grades. That's understandable. Family pressure is one of the biggest sources of academic stress, but try to understand their perspective. Most parents aren't obsessed with grades because they love report cards. They're worried about your future. They want reassurance that you're moving in the right direction. If you come home saying, my grades don't matter, while spending every evening doing nothing productive, of course they'll be concerned. But if you can show progress somewhere meaningful, things change. Maybe you're learning a valuable skill. Maybe you're building a project. Maybe you're creating something consistently and improving over time. Results create confidence. Excuses don't. You can't demand freedom while demonstrating zero responsibility. If your afternoons consist entirely of scrolling, gaming, and wasting time, grades become the only evidence your parents have that you're making an effort. Instead of arguing endlessly, prove yourself through action. Build competence. Develop discipline. Give people a reason to trust your direction. At its best, school teaches two valuable things: discipline and social awareness. It teaches you to meet deadlines. It teaches you to cooperate with people you didn't choose. It teaches you to complete responsibilities even when you don't feel motivated. Those lessons matter. The specific content of many exams? Much less important. I've known students who could memorize information perfectly but struggled to think independently. They followed every instruction flawlessly but couldn't make decisions without guidance. 5 years later, the student who earned average grades while learning communication, discipline, creativity, and practical skills often surpasses the student who focused exclusively on academics. The next time you're staring at an exam paper with your heart pounding and your anxiety climbing, use a simple test. Ask yourself, will I remember question 14 5 years from now? Probably not. Will anyone ask about this specific score 5 years from now? Almost certainly not. Does one average grade ruin my life? Of course not. Do your best. Put in effort. Take responsibility. But once the exam is over, move forward. Don't spend hours analyzing every answer with your friends. Don't lose sleep over a single mistake. The bigger tests happen outside the classroom. The real test is how you use your free time. It's how you treat people. It's whether you're building skills, creating opportunities, and becoming someone you're proud of. A grade isn't your identity. It's simply a measurement taken on one particular day. Pass your exams, then focus on building a meaningful life. Now picture yourself 5 years from now. The anxiety you're feeling this week has vanished. You don't remember the teacher who frustrated you. You don't remember the formula you stayed awake studying. The classrooms are behind you. You're standing in the real world. Nobody hands you instructions anymore. Nobody tells you exactly what to learn next. Nobody creates a timetable for your success. School's structure is gone. For many people, that's terrifying. Why? Because they spent years learning how to be students but never learned how to direct their own lives. They became dependent on external validation. They waited for grades to tell them they were doing well. Then graduation arrives, the grades disappear, and suddenly they don't know what direction to move. Life doesn't hand out report cards. Life rewards value. Can you solve problems? Can you communicate effectively? Can you stay disciplined without supervision? Can you create something useful? Can you lead when things become difficult? Those are the metrics that matter. And unlike exams, those evaluations happen every day. If you spend your 20s feeling sorry for yourself because you weren't considered smart in school, you're wasting valuable time. If you spend your 20s feeling superior because you were considered smart in school, you're making a different version of the same mistake. Time keeps moving either way. While you're stressing over a history exam, the future version of yourself is waiting for you to realize that school is only one small part of a much bigger life. Don't mistake that small environment for the entire world. Take your exams seriously. Be respectful, put in honest effort, but once you leave those classroom doors behind, change your mindset. Stop seeing yourself only as a student. Start seeing yourself as a creator, a builder, a problem solver. Most people spend their lives waiting for recognition, waiting for approval, waiting for someone else to tell them they're ready. Don't become one of them. The most important test you'll ever face isn't sitting on a desk at school. It's the decision you make after this video ends. Will you return to mindless distractions, or will you begin becoming the person you're capable of becoming? Success isn't something a teacher hands you. It's something you earn through action, consistency, and courage. Finish the exam, leave the room, then begin building the life that actually matters. I'll see you at the top.